Welcome to All Worn Out. I'm your host, Warren Meredith. On the show today, Johnny McConnell. Yeah, he's in the house. Johnny's from band Evil Creek, but he's also got his own solo project. He's released a lot of music this year. And now, here's Johnny. I always wanted to do that. Hi, everybody. Welcome to All Worn Out. It's a podcast about music. It's a podcast about what you're passionate about, and it's a podcast about what our guest is passionate about. I am very, very excited to have the extremely cool and amazing Johnny McConnell. Yeah. Johnny, when I told people I was meeting with you, they got excited. They're like, Johnny's the best. Do you feel that you have to live up to that pressure that, like, you know, you make people happy when you show up to places?
Well, that's nice to hear. I'd rather make somebody happy than sad. No, that's very nice of you to say it. I don't think people do actually say it, but fair play to you for saying it.
They do. People often think, I believe that you're the life of the party, or, you know, one of those people they like to talk to when they're out. But that comes along with the frontman territory. But what I want to get into is kind of like how you've almost, for a while, sacrificed the frontman territory for the love of music, which I think is really cool. Mm-hmm. But the first question I have for you, Johnny, is where were you born?
I was born... Hold on. First of all, you got an Irishman on the show, and I panicked. The first episode you did with Cliff, and I'm like, oh my God, he's going to ask me about hockey. I haven't got a clue about hockey. And I dug through the old wardrobe and I found my Belfast Giants shirt. Look.
Beautiful.
There you go. So that's as hockey as I get. Haven't got a clue. So I'm going to take this off now.
You know, I think it's a...
Because you know why? Because I'm all worn out.
What in the world is that?
Yeah,
oh
baby.
My God. Oh my God. Johnny.
You get it, folks? You get it?
Johnny, what the hell, man?
Come on, what?
You're too much, man. See?
I come with gifts. There you
Oh
go.
my God.
You can
Johnny,
put it in the background.
look at that. All worn out. Oh my God. Johnny.
Well, you're all worn out and I'm all worn out because by the end of this I'm going to be exhausted.
You're the best, Johnny. Look at that, folks. Aw.
Oh well.
You're the best. Oh my gosh. That's so cool. That's awesome. You beat me to it. I haven't even made any shirts yet for the show.
Well, as soon as you said, like, will you be a guest? I'm like, right, what can I do? I went, I'm going to make a t-shirt.
Oh, man. You see, that's what I'm talking about.
Look at this.
That's what I was talking about, folks. Everybody, this is why people love Johnny McConnell. And I keep wanting to call you BAP, but you told me you've been hacked. And we're not going with that name anymore. So it's just Johnny McConnell, folks. And honestly, I was looking at your last name, and it's pretty cool because you have, like, the 2 C's, the 2 N's, the 2 L's. And I was thinking about, like, how my mom taught me to spell my name growing up. She was like, it's me Redith, and you have red hair. So I was thinking about McConnell and thinking about how it's got the 2, and the 2. And maybe that's how they taught you to remember.
It was just, I used to do a wee song like McConnell. McConnell, and I do it with the kids as well.
Oh my goodness. Where were you? So you're in Ireland, born
and raised in Belfast, Ireland.
In Belfast, of course, with the jersey.
Yeah.
And what's it like there?
Oh, it's terrible. This one time at band camp. I'm only joking. No, so obviously I grew up through the Troubles, and I'm sure you've heard about the Troubles in the north of Ireland. The conflict between the Protestants and the Catholics and all that. So we're not getting into religion, and I'm not even going to go down that road. But I had an amazing upbringing. I'm the youngest of 8 kids. I have 5 brothers and 2 sisters. Wow. We had I think, an amazing upbringing. I have 2 amazing parents and still have them. Thank God they're still with us. Yep.
Wow. Yeah. Cool. So coming from a big family like that, was music a big deal throughout the house, or was that something that came later just for you?
It's weird because there's my eldest brother, who I was in a band with years later. He's 12 years older than me. So he played the guitar. He always had an electric guitar. He was up in the attic room, and when he would go out for the day, I would sneak up and, you know, turn on his amp and play and like, you know, try and be whatever I could, not knowing what the hell, but making sure that nothing in the head was touched. So knock it out of tune, he would knock me out. You know what I mean? So I would watch him play, and he actually got into a big band at the time. And the lead singer of that band, they went on to London and got a record deal.
Wow.
He kind of left the band because he met a girl and whatever and was going on to get married, so he kind of pulled out. But they went on to get a record deal. That was Bob Kennedy. But he's been a big influence on me musically that way. My other brother Andrew was also musical as well. He played piano for a bit. I remember when I was really young, he played a wee bit of piano. But he's the one that actually, when I was 13 then, when I eventually wanted to learn how to play the guitar, I went to him and said, can you teach me my first 3 chords? And he taught me my first 3 chords then.
Oh, that's so cool. I never had a brother growing up, older or younger, and that's a cool perspective to have there, that your thought was go to my brother and like which brother do I talk to, and then that's really cool that you have that thing, and like I would never think of that.
And it's weird, and I've only just thought about now that I never went to my eldest brother.
Yeah,
I went to that brother instead of that now.
Yeah.
And I never thought about it until now.
Yeah, well, I mean, for me, learning guitar chords, I remember, like, I got this book of, like, church music when I was, like, 15 or something from some youth group, and but what was great about it is they had all these chord charts in there that I could, like, pick up and just go, oh, A, C, D, E,
That's
all
it,
these
the wee
chords.
picture on the top, and you just knew where to put your finger.
And
That's
I just
how we all learned,
figured it out that way, you know?
No
So
YouTube or nothing back then.
no, that's not how I learned back then. It isn't. I mean, maybe I could have, but I don't think Ultimate Guitar was up to snuff yet at that point. Yeah.
We didn't have computers like in
Well,
at all till my late high school, whenever the first computer kind of came in for us.
I had computers in like grade school that were, you know, the IBMs that were like orange and black screens, you know, where it was.
Can you remember the original internet when it first? Like,
Oh, I
the first
remember
search?
Netscape and us being like taken into the teacher's lounge one at a time to go on the internet computer to like go on the interweb and research things. And the first thing to go was the encyclopedias, and you know, there was all these crazy websites. So in the early days, right, where it was very homemade. Things felt kind of homemade in the early days.
'Cause that's I was like, what am I supposed to do here? Like, and they're like, well, type in whatever you want to know. It's like a dictionary sort of thing. You just type in. And I can remember it was in the Grosvenor Leisure Centre, the only place that had a computer. And I'm like, well, who do I search? I'm like, who comes in the mind? Who do you want to know more about? And then I remember this day I went Elvis Presley. And I wasn't like a huge Elvis fan, but he was the first person popped in, and there was a picture of him, this grainy picture, and then all the information about him. I'm like, ooh, this is amazing. I don't have to sit and flick through all these pages. I can just type it in.
Oh, I know. It was very, very amazing at the time. And I remember them telling us things would change, this and that, but I don't think any of us like got it like David Bowie did. Like, I don't know if you've seen his interview from like, I think it's 96 or 98, and he pretty much just lays out exactly what's going to happen, what it's going to do to music, how Spotify, like he doesn't call it Spotify, but he pretty much explains how it will rise up and all these different things like that. So, I mean, for me, it took me by complete surprise back in that time. So you are a member of Evil Creek. We had on our very first episode on All Worn Out, we did have Cliffy C. And
Awesome interview.
Cliffy C is an awesome interview and is a very cool guy. But, I mean, I want to take some credit here. I don't feel like I get enough credit in maybe bringing you and Evil Creek together to meet in certain circumstances. The same way I told Cliffy C, I don't think he gives me enough credit for his connection to Chesterville, okay, folks? Because that's my hometown. So what happened was we did a show in my hometown at this old, decrepit, falling apart hotel bar from the late 1800s. I think it started running. Like it was there for a long freaking time, and the ghosts were all over that building. But I remember bringing you guys out, bringing Walking with Crows, which was your band at the time, and bringing out Evil Creek. And I don't know, was that the first time you guys hung out, or did you guys already have a relationship?
We already had a relationship.
Oh, come on.
No, I didn't mean to burst your bubble, but remember, Steve,
Yeah.
drummer
Yeah.
for Walking with Crows,
Yeah.
is the same Steve who's the drummer for Evil Creek.
Steve, I'm sorry. I didn't actually forget
See,
you,
everybody
Steve.
forgets Steve. Oh, the
Steve,
fella
I
in the
didn't.
back
Now
of the
I see your
sticks.
smile in my head, Steve, and all the bloody videos that you make with the gory stuff that comes in my head right away. But yeah, Steve's a good guy.
Yeah.
Oh.
So Steve was our drummer in Walking with Crows, and then because he was in both bands and he was finding it hard to juggle, a lot of the time we would open for Evil Creek, so he could drum twice.
So I don't get to take that credit.
No.
Oh my god.
If you want to, we'll go back and we'll pretend like it's the first day.
I want to be on the Wikipedia page where
Was that the
it's-
Halloween show as well?
Yeah, where you dressed up as Freddie Mercury. And
Hey-oh.
it was the best costume that
I
night.
made that myself.
But you know, some of the ladies that night, older ladies, were fighting about who won costume of the night. Like, one of them wore one of those outfits where, like, her head was on a chopping table and then, like, she's a headless woman or whatever. And, like, she didn't win and she was getting mad. Like, she was arguing with another lady and another lady was like, you should have won. You should have won. And they're just like, they were hammered. But, I mean, good times.
Yeah, that place is, you had to wipe your feet on the way out. That's the kind of place it was.
Yeah.
But it was class. It was a really good place to play.
We had fun.
Yeah.
We had fun. So yeah, Walking with Crows was how I first saw you, and I think that was at the Rainbow Bistro, and I don't know what year that was, and I remember just hearing your voice. I don't think I talked to you before you started singing because I remember hearing you singing and then like walking over to the guys and being like, who is this guy? Like what? How did we get like a real member of the Rankin family to just walk out here and start killing it like this? Because you have such beautiful tones to your voice, Johnny, and
Thank you.
I hope people tell you that. I hope you get that. And it's almost magical. The like I don't think you hide your accent, okay? Some singers, some vocalists, they try and completely hide that accent. They try and bury it.
I do. I don't try. It's natural that way for
I can still kind of hear
There
it
is
in
now-
a whimsical
Yeah.
kind of way coming through.
There is some words that I still pronounce in my own accent, and I'll hear it back and I'll go, "Oh, I did say that in my own accent."
I
there."
prefer it that way, you know? I prefer it that way personally. So I like that character comes out because I think it's authentic. But I remember being, wow. And Alex and my bandmates, everybody in the band was very like, wow, this is awesome. And you did, my mom loved you too, which I mean,
love you.
come on, there you go. My parents thought it was great music. And I mean, you were very passionate. Where does that passion come from?
I don't know. It's just built in me. I've never been musically trained. I can't read music. Any chords that I do, whenever I do write, I class myself like Phoebe from Friends, is the claw, the thing, like the burr, the basic chords, G, D, A, all that sort of stuff. But then whenever I'm starting to play up the neck and finding things out, I'm like, oh, this sounds good, and then I write around that. And then whenever I present it to the band, I feel like, oh, I've got a decent song here. Okay, what's the chords? And I'm like, it's the burr, the claw, the thing.
Really? So it's
Yeah.
like Tai Chi doing chords for you.
It's like I literally play down the neck until something sounds nice, and then the guys, obviously they're properly trained, they'll go, well, that's just G and that's A. I'm like, what? And then I'll go down and go, oh my god, it is. But I was doing something really fancy up the neck or whatever, you know what I mean, that I didn't even know about.
But you trained yourself how to play keyboard for the purpose of Evil Creek. Is that right?
It was, well, the pandemic kicked in. Walking with Crows had kind of fell apart. Our guitar player quit on us, our bass player quit. It was just me and Steve. So, obviously, COVID kicked in. Everybody's sitting around doing nothing. And I was like, you know what? I've always wanted to learn how to play the piano. Well, there's nothing happening right now. I'm not gigging. There's no band. I might as well, try and learn a few chords at least just to get me by. So started dabbling and learned like 4 chords, and then I realized, oh, them 4 chords I can sing this song. So then I started setting up my camera and playing like Zombie from the Cranberries and singing that, and Glenn Hansard, what was his one he won the Oscar for? I can't remember. Beautiful song. And just putting them on my YouTube channel of me singing and playing. And if you want to fast forward a bit then, after about 4 months maybe of that, of recording myself just singing and playing a few chords, I was having a few drinks on my own in the house, and I'd got my phone and I went, I'm going to text Mark from Evil Creek here, see if he needs a tambourine player or something because I'm bored. So I was actually writing that, you need a tambourine player or something, and I read it and went, that's freaking pathetic, and I just deleted it. But about an hour later, I ended up getting a message through from Mark saying, "Hey, I'm just sitting here watching your YouTube things of you playing and singing. Do you want to come out some night and jam with us and see how it goes?" I went, "You're joking. I was literally going to text you earlier on asking if like would there be any, do you need anything, like even a background singer or something, just I want to get back at it again." Because things kind of were lifting, and you have a small group of people and all that, how it all went
Well,
yourself.
that's wild, because that's similar, like with Joe when he joined Taming Sorry. Like, I called him up and I was thinking in my head, like, well, he's in Old James and I don't think they're doing anything, but I don't know, so he's probably just gonna tell me, go away. But when he picked up, he was like, wow, like, this is the perfect timing.
Yeah.
This is exactly what I want to do. And it was like it was supposed to happen, so I think it's always amazing when it goes down like that. And that must have just been like they acknowledged how hard you were working and the growth that they were seeing. Obviously, I mean, for most people, picking up the keyboard is a very long process. I mean,
Still is. Like, I'm no pro at all. But that was the reason. Sorry to jump in on you. I was like, if I'll go out to this practice, I'll practice their songs and see how it works. Obviously, I know I'm not in the change things. I'm just adding things in the background or whatever. See how it comes up. It was Mark who'd listen. The rest of the lads hadn't really. Steve obviously is one of my best friends, so he just wanted me, no matter what, doing anything, just to be in the same band again. Me and Steve are like brothers. So I went out and I played with them, and at the end I'm kind of standing there like a nervous kid, like like what are you like? What are you thinking? And they all kind of disappeared downstairs for a smoke, and I was left in the barn like just playing away. And then they come up and they're like, "Oh yeah, I think this will work. It's a good start anyway. If you want to just keep coming out, and we'll do it." So that was it. Then every week it was going out, and it was August then. This was in June. Or yeah, so it was June 24th, 3 years ago, was the official day that they said, "Yep, Johnny's in the band." And then I had my first gig then in August, where you just come down and support me in Maverick. Remember you and your parents and Alex.
That was your first one.
First one. That was when Mark blew his back out. Remember in the
yes,
first gig?
Poor Mark was sitting down, and I did not know if he was gonna get
scary.
through that night. It wasn't very fun
Second
at all.
song, he went and it back went.
It wasn't good.
Oh my god, terrible.
It wasn't good, but he made it through the set. And was good. I mean, that's besides the point. But he was hurt, but he was good. And Johnny, you were also good that night. That's why I'm kind of said, "Oh wow, that was the first show," because I remember being kind of pretty impressed. But also, I was really surprised in general at the time because, like I said, when I saw you, I thought you were such a great frontman, that you have such great charisma. I didn't know that you had the ability to humble yourself, to make yourself just go, I want to be a part of the music. It's not about being in the front. It's not about being in the back. Because it's like, I told Cliff, I was like, I wouldn't do that. I was like, it's not in me. I love singing. I love being at the front singing. But that's just who you are, right? Like, you love the music.
I love the music, and it's more the people as well. To me, it's not like a lowering myself. It's like you say, everything comes around at a perfect stage. The frontman stuff, I was so used to being out on my own. I was working in the Canary Islands, singing for 5.5 years. It was just me and the acoustic guitar, doing all the Irish stuff. So that's where I built my craft on stage. Every night, like 6 nights a week, singing out there for 5.5 years. So I was so used to being out the front. But then when the drink's in, the wit's out. You're drinking all the time and all that. So my memory. Like, you call me John half a song back home, because I go to start a song and halfway through I go, what's the words? I cannot remember lyrics for the life of me. So this kind of came around like, okay, I'm no longer a front man. I don't have to learn all these words again. I can sit back and I know I've got a decent enough voice where me and Mark are really compatible with each other. He's got such a powerful, beautiful voice, and then I can get way up there to get the harmonies. So I'm like, you know what, this is perfect for me. I still get to showcase my voice, but I don't have to take all the
Again,
main thing, you know.
I wouldn't have predicted that that your voices would have meshed so well. Like, it wouldn't have been my first thought, but you're so right that you're able to get up there and hit those high harmonies, and it adds so much. Like, yeah, I definitely agree. Harmonies and adding that backing vocal touch can add so much. And then yesterday on the podcast, Alexandre was saying that for Sunday Riot Club, they started adding organ into the background of all of their recordings, and it really fattens it up, fills it out, gives it that nice sound. And so, yeah, I know that what you're adding is twofold, very nice things for a band to have. Since
Team and Sorry didn't want me, so I had to join somebody, you know.
You know what, folks? I never thought of it. I really feel silly. I really do feel silly, folks. But no, I listen, Johnny, you were such a big help to us in the beginning, very supportive to us throughout the years. Johnny was in one of our music videos.
2 of them.
He's in one with his boys, though, where, I mean, they're very young, and now they're getting older. So it makes me excited that one day they're going to look back and watch it, and they're just little guys, especially your youngest in the video.
Adam,
yeah,
he's 10 now, for God's sake.
Yeah, he's so little in that video. And, yeah, so you've always been so supportive to us.
But that was a true becoming a fan first before anything. I heard Down with the Devil. I came across the Facebook or whatever. I'm like, what the hell is this? Thought it was some American band or whatever. And then started listening to it. I'm like, gee, it really, there's been no other band in a long time who has sucked me in straight away like that.
Aww.
And I'm not saying it because you're sitting here. Just, it sucked me in straight away. And I remember Googling who the hell yous were. And then I sent the Team and Sorry messenger thing like, hey, just wanted to say, found your song and I really love it. Keep doing what you're doing, lads. Amazing. And I think it might have been your old drummer then at the time was in charge of Messenger then, so me and him started talking back and forward. And then that's where we end up getting...
Is that how the show happened?
That's how the Rainbow show happened. He's like, hey, we're looking for an opener for the Rainbow. And I'm like, whoa, no way,
nice.
Team and Sorry, man.
Nice.
Couldn't believe it. And it was my kids were helping move your gear and stuff in. Alex was being lovely, like, hey, do you want to come and do the door and stuff, because it was a daytime gig, remember?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. One of the very rare ones.
They're like, you can stand here and give people stamps on their hand and help us with our amps. And then that's where it led down.
And that's why they liked Taming Sorry, and they would come out a few times, and support us. Yeah. And
they're morning, well, not anymore, but getting up for school in the morning. Wake up, boy! That blurred, that was that. So that's kind of scarred them for life. I use Wake Up Boy every morning to get them up for school.
That's funny. Psychological warfare there with Wake Up Boy. Well, I like that story. Sometimes people tell me, like I saw my cousin's kid the other day up at my grandma's place, and like I have videos of him, or was sent videos of him when he was like 3. Now he's like 9. You know, when he's dancing to Down with the Devil, and still he runs up to me and he's like, Warren, I'm your fan. You know, I love Down with the Devil and Wake Up Boy. And I was like, well, you know, that's awesome. And, you know, you give me perspective because you didn't say you like any of the new songs off the new album. So, you know, it's so cool how fans are fans. They love what they love. They get into it. And then, like, if they get that memory created, that's where you get nostalgia factor, folks.
Exactly. That's what you hope for.
Yeah. If you can create that memory where it's ingrained and it's a special thing, then nostalgia forever and ever and ever. And I think that's as musicians what we really hope to achieve in people or with people in that connection. So you have been writing songs then since, I think you said you were like 14 or 15 on your bio.
I started learning the guitar when I was 13. Me and my buddies, if you want to go way back, were in Belfast. There wasn't a lot to do. You were just out in the alleyways in the rain. That was about it. There's just the troubles was happening around you, but the only place you could kind of hang out was the alleyways. We had big long terrace houses.
Because there was troubles going on, did that meant there wasn't a lot of bar stuff going on? Was there not a lot of shows?
I remember I was a kid. I moved away when I was 17.
You moved away when you were 17. Yeah. Okay. So did it impact day-to-day life that way though? Was there bars that were safe for one side and bars that were safe for another?
We were in technically like the ghettos. Everybody had to stick to their own areas. You had to watch what clothes you wore, like soccer jerseys.
Yeah.
If you wore, like, I grew up on the Grosvenor Road, just off the Falls Road, which is the main Catholic area.
Right.
So you'd walk around with Celtic shirts on, it was safe there. But if I wore a Celtic shirt downtown or in the Protestant area, then I'm done, I'm dead. Likewise, if a Protestant fella with a Ranger shirt on came into a Catholic area, it would, the same thing would happen to them. So you had to watch what jerseys you wore, where you were going. That's why the drink culture is what it is. There's bars on every corner because everybody just had to stick close to home.
Okay.
You never ventured into town.
Right.
It was very... You weren't even into town during the day. On the weekend or something for special shopping, but you stuck to your own local stores and whatever.
At that time, did you feel like people really cared about the Protestant Catholic thing, or was it just it's too late? There's been blood spilt, and now the lines are drawn.
Well, we grew up in it was a Protestant. Northern Ireland is known as a Protestant state for Protestant people. The government was Protestant, the police force was Protestant, the jobs were Protestant.
So it's still like that.
No, now it's different. It's actually shifted.
Okay.
For the first time in history that the Sinn Féin are running the kind of show back home. But the sad thing is, you have to move away from Ireland to look back on it to see how silly it all is. That the differences between us is nothing. Like, I'm not going to go down that political road because I do have family members who watch this as well, and they'll be like, "Oh, you can't watch what you say."
Oh, that's exactly was going to be my next point. Was something that I think taught me a lesson about all this stuff was the vaccine stuff that we went through, and the stuff with the truckers coming through, and how the opinions of people got roiled up, and families yelling at each other. Children disowning their parents. It all happened here very quickly. Over a year, over 2 years. It happened fast, folks. So I think it like, for me, I automatically think about how back there families must be torn apart, and how absolutely sad that part of it is.
Yeah, like the older generation, especially with love, it was torn apart because if you were a Catholic man and fell in love with a Protestant woman and vice versa, you literally had to go to England or go down south of Ireland just to get away from it because your family would disown you for even going for somebody from the other side. Now that's like my grandparents' generation and stuff.
My great-grandparents who moved here, if I go back in the books and I look, some of them were Orangemen. And they still believed in that stuff. Going back here in Canada, like they'd immigrated over, and still in Canada, they were still holding on to some of that stuff. But
actually, where I got this tattoo done was a Loyal Orange Hall.
Okay.
Converted into a tattoo parlor.
Cool. Yeah, well, I just wanted to kind of get into it because I think maybe in some ways it has impacted your writing. I do think in some way there is, in some of your songs, I feel like there's not hopelessness, but almost like a losslessness in some of the songs where it's like you wish things could be different, and I think it comes through to me. I think it's impacted you artistically, for better, because that's the way life works, folks. If it impacts us artistically and it comes out, it's probably important. It's probably supposed to come out.
I wear my heart on my sleeve. It's just that is my diary. Whenever I go to write, it's just I find it hard to sit there and somebody gives me a topic and then I have to go and write about it. It's literally whatever falls out of the sky.
That's funny.
A lot of
opposite.
Really?
I'd love it. I love it when people come up and they'll just go, "Oh, write me a song about this." I'd rather that than my brain just goes into pattern mode where it starts thinking about patterns and how I want to formulate it. And whereas the other way, it's like I have to feel the music. I have to feel the song out, what they're playing. I have to feel the riff and then imagine how it's going to go. And then that first melody kicks in. And I was saying again, like the other night about Wake Up Boy, like I was late to jam. I was half an hour late to jam. They were pissed with me. They were playing Wake Up Boy. They were not pleased. I walked into the room and I just walked up to the mic and I started singing Wake Up Boy because I woke up late for jam. And that's a common story throughout my life, folks. I've often been late for things growing up and that sort of thing. So the Wake Up Boy character is like, it's a real thing. It's a real part of who I was because I've worked on it. I've worked on becoming a much more punctual and respective person in that regard. But I grew up in a house with people who suffered from obsessive compulsive disorder and agoraphobia and anxiety. So that combination of things made it very difficult for us as a family to get out the door on time, to the point that, like, with hockey games, it could be, I play goalie. So if we showed up late, or whatever, and the coach would be pissed off with me. And I just want to say, look, man, it doesn't matter what you say. Like, my mom's coming to watch me. First of all, she pays for this. My family's, they pay for me to do this, and they're coming to watch me. So if I'm 10 minutes late, I'm screaming at the top of my lungs. Believe me, that it was part of my life growing up, was like screaming at people like to move their butts because we were late. We're late.
You reminded me of a story of when I was a teenager. I was keeping my dad back from going to work. He had to drive me to work, and I can't find any socks. All the socks are odd. Remember the old tube socks? The white one had like a purple, and a purple and a grey line, and the other one had the red. Well, I couldn't find all their proper socks. I'm like, one's red and blue, and the other one's purple. And my dad's like, give me the effing socks, and he grabbed them, and he got a big pair of scissors, and he cut the tops off. He went, they're not odd now. Now let's go. And I went to school with these things. The elastics were gone on them. It was like a girl's sock that just folded over my shoes, these white socks. And I had to go to school that way. He's like, get out that fucking door. He's shouting and cracking up. Yeah.
Oh, man. Johnny, for years I told people that I was Irish, but I did the DNA test, folks.
Drum roll, please.
I was only like 8% Scottish or Irish, and I was like 38% Scottish. And I thought the opposite my whole life. I thought it was reversed, but it's weird because, like, who knows? I'm just like a Heinz 57. I've got like French and English and Irish and Scottish and like everything European that you could think of, I guess. But yeah.
Buddy back home had 100% pure Irish tattooed around his belly button. And we were out drinking one night, and he collapsed, and he had to go and get an operation, and they cut through his belly. Now he's 10% pure Irish. Swear to God. Yep.
Good. I like it. Yep. So what was the first song you wrote with Evil Creek?
First song I wrote with Evil Creek?
Yeah.
Was...
that you were a part of.
The Underneath.
The Underneath.
Was one of our singles, or like 2 singles ago. I was at work. I work in the hospital. In my old position, I was lucky enough that I was left to do my own thing. And I had a wee guitar in the corner for during my breaks. And I was standing working away, and I could hear Mark's voice in my head. And that's usually when I'm writing, it's just I'm there, I play a few chords, whatever, I'm starting to feel something. A line will come to my head, and that's where the song starts. And then I don't know where it goes until I finish.
Right.
But this here, I could hear, by the grace of God, I've never been to see the light on the other side. But it was Mark's voice. I'm like, what the hell? So I run over and I grabbed the pen and paper, grabbed the guitar, and I started, what am I hearing here? And about 20 minutes later, I wrote The Underneath.
So now you're writing in someone else's voice. That's very cool.
Yeah, well, it's the first time I've ever heard someone else sing in my own head.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's never happened to me before.
That's very cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then they were very receptive to the song?
Well, I was more, I was driving Mark to practice one night, and I'm like, can I play you something? He's like, yeah, what is it? No problem. I went, it's a song I wrote. I kind of had your voice in my head. Like, if you don't like it, just being real skittish. If you don't like it, it doesn't matter. Well, you don't have to say anything. You just be truthful with me. And I played it. But by then, I'd already went home and transposed everything on the piano. So he heard me singing and playing on the piano, and he's like, yeah, it's a good song. I like it. And then that was kind of it. And we got to practice. Nothing more was said about it. And then they went, oh, hey, by the way, before we leave, play that song you played to me earlier on. And he said, Johnny wrote a song. I think it may be good for us to play. So then I sat and played it out loud. And I'm like, yeah, it's a good song. Steve knows right away. He's so on the ball. He just started playing away with me and like start gelling. Me and him were just connected in that way. And eventually, like, that's a good song. Next practice we'll work on that then. So then every week we started kind of building up until eventually we decided we're getting in the studio, we're recording it, and we made a video. That's the one that I acted through the whole video and everything in for The Underneath.
How's that been going, the recording? Because I think Cliffy C said you guys were recording when he was here.
Yeah, we were supposed to release this week, but a few hiccups had happened, so we have a single ready to go. Actually, the final mix came in as I was driving here. Was listening to it on the way here. It sounds awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, so I can't wait for that to come out. It's more that we're going like down that kind of blackberry smoke kind of vibe with the organs and all that. It's and a bit heavier. We're sort of evolving and we're going away from the acoustics. We still have the acoustic in it, but we're getting a wee bit heavy with Cliff playing the electric and stuff. And he near makes the guitar talk. It's unbelievable. So it's really exciting to hear.
Well, I bet you that makes Cliff happy. I remember talking to Cliff like, I don't know, maybe a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, and Cliff was like, I have all these riffs. I have like a million riffs, but like I don't know if any of them are any good for Evil Creek, or if like I can use any of them for Evil Creek. And I was like, yes, you can. I'm like, you can formulate, you can change a couple things, and you can make a riff work for like many things, folks. Yeah. But it sounds to me like now he's getting that creative ability with the electric guitar that he loves, because he's, like you said, he is so skilled, he is so good at it, that I think limiting him to the acoustic maybe long term would have been detrimental, at least for his creativity.
I think that's what was kind of happening. Like, Creek had been together 6-7 years or whatever, and then whenever I came along, it kind of changed a wee bit of the sound without changing it completely.
Yep.
And he even said himself, he said that, to be honest, it was starting to go kind of stagnant. Nothing was really happening. We're doing the same thing all the time, and now there's a new lease in life. Then we're starting to push a wee bit different boundaries would never happened before. Not because of me, I'm not saying that. It was just things were just changing. There was something different happening, and then eventually he started bringing the electric to practices, and we're all just drooling on him. We're like, I wish you could do that all the time. And then he would pull back himself, knowing that this is not Evil Creek. We have our sound and that's it. But eventually we just realized that as a band you have to kind of evolve. You have to keep going until something really sticks. We still like to play our, like he was saying before, the different tuning, the C stuffs and all that. That's what kind of drew people in at the start, that darker kind of side of Evil Creek. But this new Evil Creek, I want to say new Evil Creek, is more up-tempo, upbeat, dancier, in your face rock and roll. I'm loving it. It's unbelievable.
I do think that is part to do with your influence. It's not just you, like you're saying, but I do believe that you're a big part of that. And Cliff getting to do what he wants with the electric is a big part of it. And just everybody understanding that to progress forward in time means progress and change.
Yeah.
And I always go back to the Beatles, like anybody who with a love for bands and music should. And what you'll see right away is all those guys were ready to evolve. They were all ready for something a little bit different. They all wanted to try something a little bit different, but they weren't allowed to. And nobody could do it. And I mean, when George Harrison found his voice, like I've said before, it was because he had to evolve.
Yeah.
He was done standing in the shadow. He was done being second fiddle, and he wanted to show what he had. And so they were done. That's why they were done. People can blame Yoko. They can blame John. They can blame.
No, it was naturally like
it's like I'm saying. You progress to a point where you've done what you wanted to do in a certain way. You set those plans out, and you want to sound this way. And then they evolved, and then they were going to be something completely different. So I understand why that is the best method if you want to keep your band together out there, folks, is listen to each other. When Freddie Mercury said, I want to do pop music, I mean, the band wasn't thrilled, but they also kind of let him do what he wanted. And I think that was the smartest thing possible, because artistically then he gets to see what he needs to see from himself, and then he's able to move on and say, they had my back.
But that was it. It was all, they have my back with him. They knew he was on a downward spiral with the company he was keeping. It was like, okay, go and be with them guys, but know that we're over here at the end of it all, and you're going to see that you're going to miss us. And that's what eventually did happen then. Thank God.
Yeah. What a wild time hearing about those parties and what was going on. And I was listening to one of the guys from Motley Crue today talking about the movie that was out, The Dirt, and talking about how they were all competing to be who would be the most rock, and how all those stories were true about Ozzy licking up the pee and snorting the ants and all, and like how that's all true, and they couldn't stop themselves. Like it's like another universe, you know. So trippy.
That's when you could afford to be a rock star back then too.
Oh gosh,
Nice.
you could afford to do a lot of things back then, you know. Different times.
Yeah.
So the progression then. Well, let me go back. So you were in high school, and were you playing an instrument? I can't remember. Yes, you were. 13 you start, 14, and then 15 you're writing, and then your first band was with your brother.
No, so the first band was with. So going back, if you want, for singing and stuff at school, I was stood up with the rest of the class, all singing in the choir, or whatever, you know, as a kid.
Oh.
And one of the teachers, Miss O'Reilly, she's always come out. Well, I found him. I was the one that found him. I was standing in the back, just singing away as you do with your hands. There's only maybe 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds. And she said, "Stop, John McConnell." I'm standing like, "What? Get down to the front." And I went, "I didn't do nothing.
It's not me."
And then down, went, "No, okay, keep going." And I'm, it's like, louder. I was singing away. And eventually, she's like, "You have an amazing voice." And I'm like, "Me? I don't know." It was the first time I ever actually sang out loud. So then it was like every Sunday, Mass would come, and I'd have to go to Mass. And the lady who was in charge of the choir in our cathedral was my principal. Okay. So I couldn't miss Mass every Sunday, or it was always, "John McConnell, please come to the office." If I didn't show up for Mass, if I wanted to go and play with my friends or whatever, because I had to do all the weddings, all the funerals, like standing there as the wee solo singer with the choir behind me out the front.
Now, did you face any backlash from the choir behind you? Was there any boys that were like trying to nip at your heels, take your job?
I have no memory of that. Like, as we did like school shows, I remember playing the Angel Gabriel. Was my first time ever on stage singing. I was the Angel Gabriel, and I had to sing a song with Mary.
Beautiful.
And it was, everybody was all up like clapping at the end. I'm like, "Oh, this is exciting." And then when music started digging into me, was a group named Barnbrack. They're an famous Irish band from my city, and there's a cool story about that too. So coming up to Christmas one year, I think I was 10-year-old. My parents knew I had the VHS of them live in the Grand Opera House doing the show. I had all their cassette tapes. I just listened. They have a famous song called Belfast. It's travelled all around the world. It actually made it into the British charts, like big song. And so my parents are like, "We're going downtown." And like I was saying earlier, you didn't go into downtown at night. I'm like, why? I was really sus, even as a 10-year-old. Why are we going downtown? We don't go downtown. Oh, would you have to go down and do a bit of Christmas shopping? I have to go down there. So I can still remember being nervous about going downtown. We get in the car, my dad drove us down, and we stopped outside the Arts Theatre in Belfast. And I'm like, well, there's no shops here. And Mum was like, "No, I'll get you tickets to go and see Barnbrack for Christmas." No way. So I was like, this is like a kid today going to Taylor Swift. I'm squealing the place down as a 10-year-old. Can't believe I'm going to see Barnbrack. So we get inside, and my mum goes, "Right, I'm going to go to the washroom.
Yeah.
You stay here. Do not move. I'll be back in a second." But I didn't realise that she wrote on a bit of paper and went to the usher and said, "Can you give this to the band and see if they'll call my son and say hello to him? He's a huge fan." So we're sitting there, and there's a country and western thing on the start, and then Barnbrack, and it's 3 older guys. One has the big double bass, the other one has the accordion, the other one's on the guitar. So I'm like, I can't believe I'm watching my idols right in front of me. Towards the end of the show, they hear, where's young John McConnell? This is in the auditorium in Belfast, and I'm like, I looked at Mummy, stupid, went, "Somebody has the same name as me." It's when it's, you stupid, did you stand up? And so I stood up, like, gave him a wave. "Come on up here, son." So they called me up on the stage. And they always had these kiddie, silly kind of songs. "Oh, here she comes." These silly songs like Postman Pat and all that. And they gave me one of their postcards with the autographs. And like, "Do you want to sing one of our songs? You know, Postman Pat?" And I went, "I want to sing Belfast." And that's their...
Did they actually sing Postman Pat?
No, they did their own kind of adult
They
version.
did an adult version?
Yeah.
Because, like, I loved that song as a
Everybody
kid.
knows he wears his sister's clothes, all that sort of
Oh,
stuff.
see, like, as a kid,
Yeah,
when that stuff
Postman
came
Pat.
on TVO, I would always sing that song.
Yeah, yeah.
It was a hit, you know?
So they did funny songs as well as proper Irish songs.
Okay.
So,
Kind of like Arrogant Worms.
yeah, so I'm like, no, I want to sing Belfast. And the lead singer, which is probably the reason why I wanted to get into singing, because of this guy. And he looked at me and went, well, can you sing, son? You know, he was really, because this is their finale. This is what they finish on. It's in the charts.
Right.
The biggest song. That's what the people came here to
It's
see.
their big song.
So I stood there and they're like, okay, well, let's try it out. So then, sorry to dig in.
Oh, no worries.
So this is me live with Barnbrack.
As a wee one.
As
How
a
old
wee
are you
one.
there?
This is it. This is from that night. My ma didn't have a camera, and there was a lady at the front had a
Okay.
camera and got our address at the end.
Okay. So you sang Belfast.
I sang Belfast with him. The guy in the middle in the guitar is Ali Quinn.
Okay. And they
That's-
loved it?
I got a standing ovation, and I think it was at
Wow.
that point that I knew that's what I want to do with life. I want to do this. That's what gave me my music bug. So then fast forward 3 years later, I stand in an alleyway, like I was saying, me and two other buddies, and we're like, I want to start getting into a band, because there was all boy bands back then. That's you had cool music over here. We had Boyzone and Backstreet Boys had come over, Spice Girls.
You had the impact of Simon Cowell, didn't you? Because he was the one who made all these boy bands originally.
After the fact, but all these boy bands started. Well, yeah, Louis Walsh was the Irish fella who did.
Oh, same kind of thing,
yeah,
eh?
exact same thing. So we were being bombarded with a pop kind of thing, and then Oasis came on, and that just blew my wee mind.
Oasis blew everyone's wee mind. I
So-
mean, those guys love each other, though, don't they? The brothers. I mean, is that the hype that they hate each other? I mean, gosh, I hope so, because they did so much great music, and I love the fact that he would say stuff like he's the greatest of all time, or
It was the arrogance and all, but a lot of his humor that he comes off with is their Irishness as well.
Yes,
Both
I
their
love
parents
it.
are Irish, so I connected so much with that, because it was just like me and my brothers. You know what I mean? When I used to dream about them sitting in my bedroom chilling with me, that's how close I was and how invested I was in Oasis. I was a massive fan.
I had them on cassette tape, and I remember, of course, maybe I was in grade 5. Wonderwall was the biggest song in the world, and there was no ifs, ands, or buts. I mean, it didn't matter what radio you turned on. That's the song that was on. And I remember being at like a girl's 11th or 12th birthday party, and we were doing that game where, you know, we were pretending to sing. And I remember Wonderwall was the song of choice. And I also remember listening to it on cassette and like Champagne Supernova and certain songs like that, making me go like, wow, it's more than this song. I remember being a kid being like, oh, for one of the first times, not the first time, but one of the first times I was like, I found other songs on the album that I liked more than the radio hit.
So when Oasis really hit me, like you say, Wonderwall was being
everywhere.
bombarded. It was almost like the Nickelback effect. The way
It
is
was.
now.
It totally was.
on every channel. And then Don't Look Back in Anger was it?
Yes.
Once I heard Noel's voice, I went, the other brother sings.
Right?
That was me hooked. That was it. I like him better than him. And like, that was just, and then realizing that he wrote all the songs, and he's left-handed, plays a right-handed guitar. He's dyslexic and writes all the songs, and I was just fascinated.
That album is gold. It's just like, it's pure gold, and it's untouchable. It's like Appetite for Destruction for Guns N' Roses. It's the same story. Some bands, they come up with it, and it's the perfect incubation, folks. What happened was magic, lightning in a bottle. And especially for multiple songs to just bubble over like that, and they're perfect. You wouldn't change a darn thing about it.
With Oasis, the only thing really coming across with the grunge thing was Nirvana. And when Noel listened to Nirvana, he realized how dark Kurt's lyrics were, and he decided, well, this is all the kids are going to listen to. We've enough crap here in England. Growing up in like working class families, no jobs, we're on the dole. We have to, we've no money at all. We just spend whatever money we get from the government on our weed and our drink, and that's life. That's just the culture. So he's like, every song I'm going to write is going to be the opposite of what Kurt Cobain is. So they're all upbeat, up tempo, and all that. So he consciously made sure that what he was putting out was the complete opposite of what Nirvana was doing. And he said that in many interviews as well.
That's very cool. Well, that's the thing. The people who are playing the game at that top level are so methodical about how they're going to market, how they're going to present, how they're going to get certain points across to people, so that they think about this, whether they believe it or not. Like when they said things, you said maybe it was their Irish humor or this or that. I think yes, but I also believe it was their way of putting it in people's minds. Like, really, who was better than Oasis during that time period? And they want people to remember that and have that thought period, or that thought about that time.
The true fans, we believed it though. It was like, yeah, well, prove us wrong. We were fighting to the death with them. Like everybody started to change their walk. Everybody had that Liam Gallagher strut after way and growing the hair down and wearing the fisherman hats and all and the Umbro shirts, and the culture just changed around. It was amazing.
So then I have to ask you, because I mean I don't like these guys, and I want, maybe you can explain to me why I don't. But are you a big fan of U2?
I've never listened to a full U2 album, to be honest.
Yeah. I don't like them, and I've tried to. And when I used to do hockey play-by-play, their song was always on to start the warm-ups, always. And
I think it has to be a feeling, though. It's like you're saying with the nostalgia thing earlier. It has to be somewhere in your life to mean something.
yeah,
And it was never, even though they're from Ireland, it was never something that was pumped around us all the time.
I've
So-
always just found Bono to turn, like, I don't know. Maybe I watched too much South Park. You see, I watched South Park, and South Park ripped hard on Bono and a few others and a lot of other celebrities. But yeah, maybe
Well, if
that's
you're standing
why.
at a concert and he starts clapping his hands
Yeah.
and he's getting the crowd to go, every 3 seconds a child dies in Africa, and people in the front, somebody in Scotland one day, and you can hear it on the microphone, goes, well, stop fucking clapping.
Yeah.
You can hear them in the front row.
Well, that's exactly it. That's what South Park
We're here
was.
to release all that stuff, the things going on in the world. We're here to enjoy your music, but just leave the politics and crap out of it. Yes, he has a voice and he should use it, but there's a time and a place, I think, anyway.
Yeah, and the other problem for me and for a lot of people is the edge. It just doesn't seem like, if you get down to it and you start looking at the guitar work, there's just not necessarily the most complicated stuff going on.
Well,
but
it's the pedals and stuff, like it's the
that's
things that he invented.
well, that's
and
just
created
it. That's just it. It's like the side angle to it. It's not the what I guess I would call like the front technical work. It's like another way of looking at guitar almost. But I mean, yeah, I got respect for them. They were just never my cup of tea, never my forte. But maybe that'll change one day. Maybe one day I'll have a big Bono moment.
I think if you're going to get into it, watch the live stuff more than the albums.
I don't know. The sunglasses throw me off too.
Well, it's the glaucoma. He has to wear them.
Oh, good Lord. I wore sunglasses many years ago, folks, and I got over it. So
I blind without it. I took my glasses off to try and make me look cool.
I can't see anything, and I've just got
Me
these.
too.
Oh,
Does that mean I can put mine on and pretend like I'm normal?
oh yeah, go for it.
There we go.
And now you can see, like,
Yeah.
maybe you'll get the circles in your eyes too, of the light
Oh, is
circles.
the future bright for me? Yeah, I'll take them off.
So what's coming up for Evil Creek?
For Evil Creek, for Gigways, like I say, we'll have the single ready to be pushed the button to be released. This Friday, August 9th, we are in Pembroke at Summer Days Whitewater Rocks Festival.
So that's this Sunday.
This Friday.
This Friday.
Yeah.
So this Friday, August 9th,
Yep.
Summer Days begins.
Yeah, so we're the headliner for the Friday night.
Okay. How do people get tickets? They go to Summer Days.
So you go to whitewaterrocks.ca.
whitewaterrocks.ca.
And you can camp. It's in over 19 things, so you can't bring your kids. But bring your RVs and your tents and whatever. They have drinks and food vendors and all that. Bring your own stuff. But it's like a mini Glastonbury. You
Oh
played
yeah,
it
I've been
before.
there. I don't think I've been there since 2019,
Yeah.
but it was fantastic. And yeah, Mike Graham takes a lot of care, puts so much work, so much heart and effort into getting a great festival off the ground for people to just go and enjoy themselves. And it's going to be really good. So that's this Friday.
That's this Friday.
Excellent.
So we were on the day after you. You were on the Friday night, I think, on 2019, and Walking McCrows is on the next day, which is the 10th of August, also my birthday, which is this Saturday. So it's my birthday weekend comes round again, so it should be a good. Make sure you come out, go and get a ticket. They're not that expensive. Come and meet us in Pembroke.
Yeah.
Pitch a tent, and we'll have a few beers and
Go.
16 bands over 2 days.
Yeah, and where is he again? Where's it located?
I don't know the address, but it means all on the whitewaterrocks.ca or on the Facebook and Instagram. All the posters are there. Some of the best bands from all around the place.
Well, no, but you're gonna have Beyond Driven's gonna be there, I believe, right, with Iron Maiden, and Mike Graham's band's gonna be there. There's gonna be some very good music and
The
tribute
Power
acts
Naps
too, right?
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Jimi Hendrix one is on the Saturday night. Then they're headlining Saturday. They're digging Jimmy up for a
That'd be
final, so-
amazing.
Yep, and then we're on the Friday. And then the one after that then is August 24th. We're at Capitol Fair, where I went to see you at Capitol Fair with the fire dancers and all that. That was awesome.
Capitol Fair's a good time. Very fun. And they've been doing different things throughout the years. Like, I don't know what they called it when we were there, but now they've got like a blues review show thing that they've been doing. And now you guys are going. That's so cool. So I'm glad to see that they're expanding on the music. Because the year we did it, I think there was only maybe 2 musical acts that year. So I'm glad they're expanding it.
Well, I'm hoping that with this new Hard Rock Cafe stuff that they start opening their doors a wee bit more to local bands, and there's a big hall being built in there too.
Yeah, I have a feeling like I have friends that played Rito Carlton Raceway, but I find that at least then, I don't know what they're going to do now, but the casinos, they love to bring in tribute acts, right?
Oh, yeah,
that's
it's all
what
cover bands.
that's what people want to
Yeah.
hear in the casino, and I get it. It's not necessarily the place for new tunes, but gosh, yeah.
As I said, but if they're building a venue within the place, it'll be good to start showcasing some of the bands around, I'm saying, instead
That'd
of
be very cool.
all the ABBA shows and all that coming through. I dig ABBA. I love ABBA.
So in 2024, this year, I've noticed you've released like 5 or 6, I don't know. How many songs have you released this year under Johnny McConnell?
July, 10 songs, so one a month. Well, so I have over 100 of my own songs, and obviously Evil Creek is a different beast altogether from what I write. So I always have to depend on people for recording. That's how I get into Walking McCrows at the start. It was Kenyon Smith, our bass player. At the time, he had a recording studio, and like we can go back on that if you want in a bit. But it was just having to depend on people all the time. Like, can you come and play guitar on this, or can you play piano, or can you come and do drums on it? But you have to record it. So obviously it's money, it's people's time and all that. So I decided, you know what, I'm gonna just get my own wee interface, and I'm gonna start learning how to record myself at home. So I get on YouTube and watch as many videos as I could, and hello, pup.
Leave him alone, Sasha.
That's okay. So I started getting into my own recording. So once I kind of knew how to press record and do multiple things, and I already played a bit of drums, I play a bit of bass, I play piano, I play guitar, and
You do everything.
I do all the instruments. So this one is that's just right. It's a labor. What are you hitting me for? I didn't do nothing.
She thinks that people are supposed to hold hands. She's very rude.
Okay. So
Leave Johnny alone.
this was just all me. So I started in September. By October, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to release one song a month on all the platforms, and it's just going to be me. And it's a totally different direction than anything I've ever done before. So I'm used to being in the rock scene, and Evil Creek is, like I say, it's its own beast. But this went more on the poppy kind of side of things, which I've never done before. And my voice kind of suits that kind of thing as well.
Yeah.
So it was everything I could do with the synthesizer and with the electronic drum kit I have, and my electric guitars and my 12 strings and mandolin, and it's all there for me. It's my own playground. And that's the thing when you write a song, is I sit with an acoustic guitar and I write everything. I have to record on my phone straight away, and then I go back over it again further down. But then that's when the creativity comes in there. I start hearing things. Oh, it'd be cool if I had a bit of piano here, or this, that, and the other, and start adding. And before I know it, I've got a full song. So I'm enjoying that process of recording and releasing the song every month. So since last October, I've released a song, even a wee Christmas song I did in December and everything.
I think people should check them out. They are very different. It's very different than Evil Creek, like completely different.
Completely.
And but very cool to listen to. And like I said, I believe that you get a different feel through Johnny, like a different artistry through those songs. Not better or worse, just different, and equally worth listening to, in my opinion. Very good stuff.
Some stuff like with Crows and whatever there was a subject to it, like Our Fallen Hero and stuff was all about. That's how it started with Walking with Crows, with when Nathan Cirillo was shot down in the war memorial there. That's how that song came about. So that was the subject. And then most of my songs are about whatever experience I've been through, the death of my brother or whatever, or different family members going through different hard times. So that's, like I say, it's my diary. It's how I release that's my woosah. I get that feeling when I finish writing a song, get that like something has released.
Cathartic, yeah.
It's very cathartic, and I love that because I can get very, like, even Cliff said during his, like, oh, he gets a bit too emotional. I have got that going for me, you know.
No, he doesn't, Cliff.
Yeah, I do, Cliff. You're right. Cliff has a lot of buttons, and I have a lot of fingers.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Take that, Cliffy C.
I love Cliff, and he knows that.
I love him too, but I mean, just like you, I like to push his buttons for some reason.
I don't intentionally do it. I just seem to have that knack to get in there.
So it's always come across to me since the very first time I met you that family is incredibly important to you. And I think that family is important to most people, but I just really, really get that feeling from you. And I got it from, maybe it's because your kids were there at that first show, but ever since then, I've seen your kids many times. I've seen your wife many times out at shows. You've become a great member of the Ottawa music community. Like I said, a lot of people appreciate your energy, and it really did wow me, like the type of person you are and your talent, ability, that you're able to melt yourself into Evil Creek the way you did and add what you did. So kudos on all those things. I think you should pat yourself on the back for that, man.
But the way if you're asking me why, it's yous are my family. Like I say, I came from a big family, 5 brothers and 2 sisters that are all back home, 21 nieces and nephews that are all back home. So everybody here who gives me the love and support, I give them tenfold back because yous are my family. You know what I mean? So if I can do anything for you, it's not for a pat in the back. I cringe when people say, "Oh, good job," or "You sound great," or whatever.
I do too.
I crumble. Like
I do too.
I'm just here I do it, and I enjoy what I do, and it feels good.
Yep.
There are moments where I do cry whenever I know something has clicked and is in there. It's happened several times when I'm on stage with Evil Creek,
yeah,
where there's just this vibration that goes through what we're doing right there and then, and I've bawled my eyes out sitting there playing, like, wow, this is what it's all about. And for me, the making it thing, it was always, I'd love to be famous, I'd love to be touring. That's still always, I still always want to reach for that. If the day and hour I don't reach for that is the day and hour I have to hang up and never do it again. But it's just to look down into that crowd and to hear or to see people singing my lyrics back. That's making it for me. And I still haven't got there yet, but I've watched you guys doing it, and that makes me, that's... And I'm a fan that way. Like I've how many times I stood in front row and squealed your lyrics in, because I am a true fan of Tame and Sorry. I think what you have done in the short amount of time you've done it has been phenomenal, and
Thanks,
I hope it just grows even more.
I do too. I think we'll get back to it in October. I've got lots of guests booked, all for the rest of this month, for the rest of September. But I've been telling people probably nothing going to be recorded in October because I'd like to get back to work. I miss making music, but it's been so much fun, and it is a lot of fun talking with you and with all these different musicians, because we are so similar and we have many of the same battles, and we can help each other through a lot of them just by listening or knowing that we're not the only people going through it. I mean, it's a time right now in the world where, like, at least here, where art can thrive. And that's a good thing. When art can thrive and there's a lot of art to the point that it's hard for yours to cut through, it's...
And another thing, yeah, if you don't ask, you don't get.
That's right.
I've become ever since, like you say, with Our Fallen Hero, with the situation that happened with that song. I then everything changed for me. I was always too shy, thinking I'm not worthy enough to do anything. So if you going back to that song, if you don't mind me jumping in, was we started recording that song and there was a bridge at the end, and I went, I'd love to have some spoken word. And because it's all about the shooting of Nathan Strillo, I started watching like Stephen Harper, the press conferences after, and it was just through coincidence someone I knew one of the bodyguards for the Prime Minister.
Okay.
And he's like, well, send me the song and I'll see if I can get it close to the Prime Minister. So I'm sitting there waiting, watching TV one day, and the phone goes, hey, this is such and such from the Prime Minister's office. We have heard your song, Our Fallen Hero. This is just to let you know that we have heard it and we think it's an amazing thing. We're just waiting on word getting back from Stephen Harper to use his voice in the song, because I had found a piece that I wanted and I'd put it in so he could hear it. So then a week or so goes by and a phone call comes through again. Hey, I just want to say, listen, congratulations. Like, Stephen has heard the song and he absolutely loves it, and he gives you all his blessing to go. And I'm like, oh, I can't believe it. Can I get that in writing? So I made sure I got an email and all that saying, and Stephen Harper gave me permission to use his voice in the song. So at that point, it was like, you know what? I wasn't born in this country. I'm Irish by birth, but Canadian by choice. I love this place. This is my home. But I have to make something of myself while I'm here. And if you don't ask, you don't get.
Yeah.
If you're like me and you're always waiting on a no answer, then what? The worst answer can come. No. But you can also get a yes.
That's right. It can happen. Good things can happen when you work hard and you put your best foot forward and you try honestly. And when you're open to failing, when you're open to not getting what you want, sometimes that's the best way. And absolutely. So Johnny McConnell from Belfast, Ireland, where he was a young choir boy from a family of 7, has crossed the ocean. He got on stage, he sang for all those people, and now he's here, folks, in Canada, where he loves it. And Johnny's got his boys.
It's my first band. I was the drummer.
Oh my
Look
God.
at the state of that guy.
Which one are you, Johnny?
The middle in the Superman t-shirt?
I don't even recognize you.
Look at this.
I don't even recognize him.
Look at him. That's Mickey McGuinness, Aidan Gallagher, and myself. We were called Subliminal. That was my first band in high school. I was the drummer.
Guys, go and give Evil Creek some love. Go and follow Johnny McConnell on Spotify. I'm going to put links below so that you can find that stuff easily. Thank you so much for coming in today.
My heart in my hand, thank you so much.
The shirt is so amazing. I'm going to wear mine. I will wear mine on the next episode. I'll wear mine tomorrow. But I'm so excited to do that. And thank you so much, Johnny.
Thank you so much. I brought that, but I realize you've got loads there.
Yeah, you see on my hockey puck wall over there. Well, thank you. All the gifts. Johnny's...
My other passion in life as well. Booyah!
Do you watch a lot of wrestling?
Oh, yes. Anyway, as you were saying, lead us out.
He is the champ, folks. He is the world champion. He is, folks, Johnny McConnell. And thank you so much, Johnny. Thank you to you for watching. And we'll see you next time on All Worn Out. Bye-bye, everybody.